Welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show, everybody. We are here, sponsored by DJ Event Planner. Check them out in the description of this video on YouTube, along with our other sponsors. So, how's everybody doing?
Good. What's going on?
Hot.
This might blow your mind,
Uh-oh.
but I want to talk about something different at the top of the show. We don't have to talk about it long if there's not a lot to talk about. But the topic I'm going to bring up is going to blow your mind because it's something that I notoriously don't like to talk about. And that is
Being nice?
Gear.
Gear. The top of the show, I want to talk about gear.
No way.
That's why it's okay with
DJ
the
equipment. Yes. I actually shot a video on this today. While I
About
was
gear?
while I was sitting in my truck waiting for people to do things like I do. That's part of my life now. But I was thinking, man, I haven't shot a video in a while. And then I thought, well, I really haven't done anything DJ related in quite a while because I've kind of been on a hiatus. The club's not happening right now. Don't have any mobile stuff, kicks off in August, but I'm kind of slow right now. Then I got to thinking, yeah, but I have been doing DJ related things, and that has been equipment rental. I have been renting out my Ape lights, and today I rented out my Evolve 30Ms. The equipment that I'm not using is making me money when it's just instead of just sitting on the shelf. You guys ever do anything like that? I mean, I'm not a rental house, and I don't want to rent to just anybody. But if I trust you and I know you're going to take care of my stuff and you need something, I'm happy to rent it to you. How about you guys?
Yep. I've done it.
Yeah.
But it's
I've done it.
I don't consider it rental. I consider it there's a handful of people that I would consider taking a couple bucks from if they offered it to give them some gear that I have. Because to be rental, I'd want to go with the gear. You know what I mean? Like if I don't know you real well, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have to bring them to the location.
You would be like
them and pay me.
renting and teching as well. Yeah.
Because I wouldn't trust it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not all the gear that I would allow people to rent. Like if somebody wanted to go, hey man, I got this cool thing this weekend. Can I rent your XDJ XZ from you? No.
Sure.
That's mainline gear. It would be, I'd give you credit for doing the 30s. I wouldn't rent my 50s.
Well, they're not going out just anybody.
Well,
So-
that's the thing. I have a buddy
Right.
that's borrowed my JBL 615s, but it was more like, hey, I've got this gig. I need 4 speakers. And, I've called him and been, hey, I've got this gig. I need 3 wireless mics. I only have 2.
Mhm.
Oh, you can borrow these. So
Sure.
we've already.
Oh, no, there's that too. I'm happy to help out my local pals.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like helping somebody out that, like, hey, man, can you help me out with this?
Let me give you an
Yeah,
example of what I'm talking about. The guy today, I'll talk about him in a minute, but most of the time it's my Ape lights. And Art rents them sometimes because of the sheer simplicity of them. They're remote control, they're battery powered, they're easy to use.
Right.
He likes them, so he likes to rent them from me. There's another guy who's a friend of ours, and he has Ape lights, but sometimes he sells extended lighting packages and needs more. So
Right.
he'll rent from me occasionally. So I make money on this stuff when I'm not doing anything with it.
Right.
And then as far as the Evolve 50s or 30Ms go, that's unique. I wouldn't normally do it. But the guy who I rent them to, I don't even know what he does anymore. He used to be a DJ. I've known this guy as long as I've known Wavy Davy, probably a little longer.
Oh, I
We
know
started-
this guy is.
We started at the same company.
Yeah.
And he is no longer a DJ. He now owns a company that deals in race tires for everything from Indy cars to
This the guy that had the deal with the Swisher Sweet thing?
no.
Oh.
No. That guy has nothing to do with DJing. He's just a guy I went to school with.
Oh. Okay.
No, this guy went from DJing to the race and exotic car scene. He's a race
I
car
know him
driver.
too. Yeah.
And these speakers are going out to a group of Ferrari owners, and they're doing a presentation, just a vocal presentation with them. They're just talking.
Right.
My friend's taking it. I'm not worried about it. Here you go. And when they come back, it'll come back with a check. And they even said to me this year, they said, hey, we don't want to wear out a welcome with this.
Right.
And I said, hey, guys, it's totally cool. It doesn't make sense for you to buy a PA like this to use once a year. That's dumb. So if I'm not using these things, I'm happy to let you go ahead and use them. And, because these guys are, Ferrari owners, I'm not worried about them messing them up and,
Right.
sending them back to me in pieces and being like, well, I can't replace those.
No, and then
I just thought
it's spoken word, like you said. It's just for announcements or
Right.
So we're all doing the same thing. We're not actively putting an ad on Facebook, gear rental.
No.
Hey, I rent gear.
No.
Yeah, it's not like that.
No.
And I know people that have done that, and it always freaks me out because I'm like, man, I don't know. The other side is this. And this piggybacks on what you're talking about, but I'm now actively selling some gear.
Okay.
Because I have excessive gear that I've just always held on to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, why am I holding on to two brand new pieces that I have the option, if I want to sell them? I just always held on to gear.
Sure.
Like CDs.
Right.
Are you doing that as well? Are you clearing house at all? Or
I have. And because of my position, I don't necessarily advertise it because then it would just be a mess. But I do know some people who will reach out and, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? And I've got a few $100 in my pocket right now.
yeah, no, I'm being very low.
Right now I do. They'll come over and they'll come for one thing and then they'll say things like, what else you got?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, what's that? And then I have to make a decision. Do I want to keep it or not?
Right.
Usually I don't.
Somebody called me. Use it.
Somebody called me today trying to buy my Evolve 30Ms. I'm like, I'm not selling those.
Right.
What about your 50s? Nope, I use those too. Sometimes I don't want to sell something I need, but if I don't need it,
can't sell current stuff that's going with you all the time. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
You're just going to replace it with the same thing, unless you're just updating a model or something.
But there's stuff that I genuinely own.
To Jay's point, though,
what am I going to do with this? Well,
to Jay's point, if you're not going to use it or you've already replaced it, why are you keeping it?
Well, I mean, case in point, look at your club setup. So that was one of those like, hey, now that you mention it, I got this thing.
Yeah, right.
So I'll send it out to you. No harm, no foul. It's like, here, you can use it because I'm not doing anything.
Oh, that club setup. Okay.
Yeah. The mixer I sent you.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Like, I'm not using it.
Right.
It will benefit you.
Right.
Or it'll sit on a shelf. And I'm kind of looking around going, I've got probably 45 uplights. I own every one of them.
Right.
What am I have yet to do 45 uplight gig, nor do I have clients that are, and I know that, but it's one of those, no, I haven't done it yet. And I don't expect to because I don't have,
you're right. You're right.
I don't have weddings that are going to call me anytime soon and go, you know what? We've decided we really need 45 uplights because what would come out of my mouth next would be like, okay, let me work out a package for that. They're traditionally $50 a light. So in their head, they're already like, wow, we're at $22.50 for this.
It's funny you mentioned that because on Facebook a while back, I was going to do a video on this, but I thought, no, it's going to be received badly because no matter how hard I try to do damage control while I'm shooting the video, someone's going to get mad. But
oh, absolutely.
But I was reading a post on one of the groups, and somebody had said something to the effect of, it's getting ridiculous, the amount of equipment that I have to charge up, battery-powered stuff, before I go to a gig. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's supposed to be convenient. For me, a guy like me in my position, I'm happy to take a full day, if I have to get things ready to go out the door. So when I'm at the gig, it goes up quick. That's worth something to me.
Oh, hell yeah.
But there are a lot of people where, I could see how it could be a burden. And I'm just thinking to myself in my head, okay, maybe you're charging up things for a ceremony system, and maybe you're charging up, a few lights and things. And somebody in the comment section, he mentioned, yeah, I have to charge 40 uplights for every wedding I do.
Whoa, that's a lot of lights he's charging.
Yeah, usually they roll in boxes of 10 and it's one plug though, right? As long as you connect them when you close the box up.
Yeah, but see, I'm
but
doing
like Jay
what Brian
said, though, are you taking out 45 uplights?
Right. This guy says he takes 40 lights to every event.
Yeah, but if he's making that kind of money, good. What are you whining about?
Well, right. I don't want to talk about the money part. I want to talk about how a person uses 40 uplights at every event they do.
That is hard to understand.
Every wedding they do.
Well, we have a friend outside of Detroit who you know and I know who specializes in a certain type of wedding.
Yep.
And he would post videos, and I remember talking to him at Mobile Beat one time, and I said something about, use a lot of uplights, huh? He goes, yeah, usually like 36 in every room, regardless. He just boom, 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 boom. Like they're everywhere. That's his MO. So maybe this 40 guy is the same way, where you and I look at a wall and go, 3, 4, 3, 4. Great. There we go. I got 14 lights in the room. Versus, you know what? I'm going to do 8, 8, 8, 8.
Well, 40 would be 10, 10, 10.
No, I know. I'm saying then he's still got 4 left over, because I don't know about you guys, but if I never put out every light I have. I always keep 1 or 2 in the back.
Just usually how it works.
Just in case, just one.
Just in case, like one halfway through the gig goes down.
Yeah.
I know I've still got 2 in the bag. So I would always undersell those numbers. Like, I have 42. The most I'll do for you is like 40 or 36. So I got a margin of error there.
From an artistic perspective, that's from a lighting designer's perspective, and from an effectiveness perspective, I'm trying to figure out why 40 would be beneficial. Aside from the client paying specifically for 40, that's one thing.
Or he's put together a package and said, I have this incredible light the room package where I have 40 lights around the room, and when dancing starts, they're all hooked together like mine are and a lot of people's, and the room just pulsates with color.
Yeah.
And they go, that sounds great. It's the package thing. Maybe he's painted himself into a corner.
I guess.
Because when you say every event, there are events in small rooms, there are events in huge rooms.
Okay.
So how are you going to fit 40 lights in a small room versus in a big room?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is the guy, especially the guy in Detroit, and the type of weddings he does, those weddings normally are pretty big.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 300 plus people.
Exactly.
And several days long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see 40 uplights.
Right.
The type of events he's doing. When you got 300 people in a room, and these are some big rooms, I can see 40. But the average wedding is 150 people.
Right.
I can't see 30 uplights or or whatever.
When your lighting is a third of the crowd size, that's starting to get too big, I think.
Here's my
that to me seems like it's misnumbered.
My really bizarre perspective on this, and it has to do with being disabled. When I found myself in this position, I had to figure out how I could possibly go out and gig by myself. And to do that, I needed to streamline things. And I really had to think to myself, what's really important and what's really not important. And with lighting, I thought about it good and hard. With the exception of we're paying for head table up lighting and things of that nature, when it just comes to lighting, it seems to me like to make the most effective bang for your buck, you light your dance floor, because in that space you create ambience, and people are drawn to the ambience. So it's good for a dance floor, and it's good to draw attention to that dance floor, and it's good to make people feel anonymous on that dance floor, because it's surreal what's happening there. It doesn't look like the rest of the room in soft amber. It's multiple colors and the illusion of movement and changing of colors when people get into a space where they feel they're anonymous, which would be that ambient light space, their guard is down and they might be a little more willing to make a fool of themselves on the dance floor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is all stuff I've read that psychologists have written about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People are drawn to ambient spaces. Like, for instance, you, Jay, your inhibitions are down. You're usually a really shy guy, but you got that crazy light going on behind you, so you feel guarded. You feel anonymous, and that you're not being seen.
No one
Because
knows
you're
I'm
in this
there.
trippy space. It's kind of like that.
Yes. Exactly.
I bring 6 8 maxis as a standard to every event.
Right.
That's it. And I'm thinking, this dude's doing 40. What? I mean, I understand he could sell 40, but at your like Damon was saying, at your average 130 person wedding reception,
You need 40.
is it serving anyone well?
Right.
No.
No.
I think
Maybe, but
I think
I
you
don't
reach
think
a
so.
level of experience, professionalism, knowledge, and sort of just basic industry reality, which is you, as you get older and wiser, you strip away some of the BS of weddings. And I see some beautiful setups that probably run $15,000, $20,000. Big 65-inch TV booths with those Astera 20 grand lights and all that.
Yeah.
But you know what? The DJ sucks. I don't care if he's got 400 lights around the room.
Do you know what we used to call that? Or what I used to call that? I called it peacocking.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, okay, I don't really
It's
have
just for the DJs
talent.
in the room.
It's the Chevy
But I'm
Chase
gonna-
moment. Look at the lights, kids. Look at the lights.
Yeah, I'm going to make it look big.
Right.
Well, you've done bands. John has. I have.
I've done them.
It's okay, and Damon has. And this is
Everybody but Kevin. He's lame. He doesn't done them.
this is one of those things that's just a known fact, and you get it out of younger bands much more than older. Older bands are buying a little box that models every sound they've ever wanted, and they run it through front of house, and they've got in-ears or a wedge, and they're thrilled. There could be 20,000 people, and they're happy. You get a guy in a club who's playing guitar, and it's like, how many people? 50. I'm bringing a half stack. Wait, what?
Yeah.
How many people?
Yeah.
60. I better bring a full stack.
Full stack.
I'll bring two
Yep.
412 cabs.
Right.
And it's in their head that if they, and this is true with DJs, we've all seen it.
Yes, it is.
If I turn up,
They're going to
It'll sound
notice
better.
me. Or they're going to
gonna
notice
really
me more.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
if,
going to get their
I'll-
attention.
I'll cut through
But
the
if
mix
you-
a little better.
yeah, like if you sucked at volume 3, volume 8 isn't going to be your savior.
Right.
And I think there's just a lot. I see these beautiful setups online. They're beautiful. They really are. But it's like, I remember Mikey Mike saying, yeah, I need 4 hours to set up the lights. What? My wedding. He was running DMX cables everywhere.
No.
He was running,
No.
and Brian, back me up. A normal wedding or a kintz or a birthday party, Mikey Mike would sell them on his lighting package. He'd have 4 truss towers with mirror balls,
Yeah.
4
Inverted
moving
mirror
heads
balls
to
is
control
something
those.
he actually invented his own stuff.
Yeah, no,
The
he's
guy
like
was like, yeah, mad
upside down
scientist.
mirror balls
Mm.
on top
Yeah.
of a truss.
Yeah.
spinning.
So instead of a hanging mirror ball, it was inverted and it would spin
Inverted.
on top of a truss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had 4 movers just to hit those with different colors.
Uh-huh.
Then he would have 20
Had to
or
be a
30
mover.
Parcan plug in DMX cable, because I still have some in my garage. Lights. I mean, it took him hours. And I see some of these big setups and I go, it looks amazing. And to the right person, it looks great. But if I take 5 brides and I say, pick out your perfect wedding ring, you know you're going to get a $100,000 Tiffany bride. You're going to get a 5 grand. This is cute. I like it. I mean, everybody's a little different. But at the end of the day, they're all going to end up with the same kind of ring on. It's going to have a diamond. It's going to be platinum or gold. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of where DJs are now. And it's like when you go, excuse me, when you go a little too far in one direction, you're kind of forgetting your role.
Man, if I
Because let me
spend
tell
5
you-
hours, if I spend 4 hours setting up a lighting system, I have no energy to DJ.
No, and that's the
No.
thing. Like, how could
you're
you
going to make 20
possibly?
grand on the day, but I mean,
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, trust me, you do a killer mix. My last few weddings, I stole it from someone on TikTok or Instagram. So I don't remember who you were, but I took it playing Turn Down for What? And you get to that last breakdown, Turn Down for, and I dropped the one on Dancing Queen. And I've done it the last 3 weddings, and all 3 weddings have started screaming, laughing, and clapping. That went a lot further than my lights did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to get back to, and I've had small cars, which isn't a handicap, but in the way Brian's not moving heavy stuff, my handicap was I had smaller cars. So I had to get gear, and that's why I loved the American DJ Revo 3.
yeah. You're not going to take a lot of extra stuff because you can't fit it anyway.
It lit up a room. It actually made it look cool for dancing. So, 40 up lights, I'd love to see the setup, but maybe the lights are doing more talking than the DJing.
Like we did lights. We did a thing for New Balance just real quick. And there was a rental. The hotel rented them from us. And I went in as the tech just to set them. I didn't have to stay, just set them and forget them. So I get them all kind of out of the case and ready to go. Like, what color do we want to do? And they'll get this. It's a beautiful, cathedral ceiling dome room with lights and things hanging down. That's like, we have a new product coming out. We want everything in red. I'm like red. And they're like,
wow.
I show them the color, and they've got these square pillars, and there's a bunch of them in the room. And then, so I did the border of the room, and I threw a couple on the pillows, and like, how do you like? And because the director was there, like, can we get more? I had about 12 up at that point. I'm like, all right, let me place a few more. I'm like, how's that now? Like, you got any more? So I had 2 cases of 10. I ended up dropping all 20. So like all 4 sides of the pillar glowing red, the side room glowing red, but the rest of the lights were on, which kind of washed it out with an amber, and it looked very elegant and very like product centric for New Balance, which I thought was kind of cool. So I come back at the end of the gig, everyone's left the room, they've killed all the lights in the building, and I walk in, and it's like the entrance doors to Doom level 1. Just everything's got, and I'm looking for the little flying meatball to come out from around the thing and start like shooting at them.
Yeah, welcome to hell.
This is hell. This is what hell looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I'll play Dark Wave. This will totally fit.
But it wasn't music. Again, they just wanted like a mic to speak and the lights. But the client wants what they want, and on the rental, you just have to assume that the guy you're giving them to is doing what's right for the venue. And if it's 20, 20 is enough. If 6 are enough, and you get how Wave does its thing, right? That's all you need. But if you're in a gargantuan room, you got to at least come armed and dangerous and prepared to cover space. So.
Well, and I wasn't
freaked out by anyone owning 40 lights. I was freaked out by somebody doing 40 lights at every wedding.
Yeah, every single
That's
time.
what was freaking me out about the comment.
That's got to be a signature or a package or a thing that, like, this is what I'm known for. I go to the nth degree to stand out by going over the top with lighting. And if that's the case, that's all. I mean, like, we're all different. We need to stay that way. We can't.
Well, I mean, maybe the guy was using like those Ape cans. They're like single diode. Yeah. And you have to have a bunch of them.
The coins.
Well, the same thing. It's the same thing.
I mean, it's
but you don't charge a coin. You would charge a can.
Right.
So maybe
the other one's
that's what he's doing.
Powered. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but it just looks
funny.
The statement looked funny to me.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity for that DJ to reevaluate and maybe say, if they're getting $2, $3, $4 grand a gig and they're making all this cash, you know what? Go spend $1,000. Find a designer. Go talk to a local theater in your town or city and say, I'd like to talk with your lighting designer. Okay, it's Jim Hansen over here. Oh, hi, Jim. Random Mobile DJ. What's your fee to come out and look at a room with me and tell me how I should do my uplighting? Oh, $300-$400. Great. How's next week? And hire a professional to come out and actually say, nope, don't do that because it's even numbers, or don't do that corner because it does this.
Or don't put it there. You're highlighting something we don't want to see.
You're highlighting something you don't see, or this is where, because that's what they do for a living. And I guarantee there's people that would do that. And it's, I would love to see them at the trade shows. I'd like to see a sound engineer say, this is why you do this. I thought of you and John the other day, Brian. I saw a video where they were talking about cardioid mics and super cardioids and placing wedges on stages. And they're like, it never fails to amaze me. You get some guy that apparently doesn't understand the pattern of a cardioid. I mean, we all know it goes here. And they put the wedge right there. And next thing you know is it's howling. But a lot of times I'll use a supercardioid. So I've only got this one spot. And when you look at the design and the space, you go, oh, now it all makes sense.
And the science, yeah.
Versus, you know, here we are showing up in a room with a lot of expensive equipment and we're just going to know everything to do.
I mean, I won't lie. I've been that guy who's had a bunch of stuff and had no idea what I was supposed to do with it. But in the age of the internet, where we have people we can reach out and get help from, even going back before the video days when they had the forums, you could ask questions. And you could get people who really knew this stuff and would school you on it and point you in the right direction. Sometimes scold you for things you bought that you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But
True.
I think, I don't know, I hope in my brain, I'm thinking to myself, I hope I had the talent as a performer, but not the talent as a tech. Where it was, you know, and sometimes you don't have the talent as a performer or a tech. You just have a bunch of stuff and you walk into a door. I think you need to have at least one superpower.
Yeah.
It'd be good if you had two.
100%.
Anyway,
Don't
I thought
let
it was
one thing
interesting.
take away from something else.
No, for sure. You don't know what you look like till you go out in front of your speakers and see your own show too. Sit at your own gig and be like, holy crap. You know, thought putting that string of lights on your pole was a good look until you sit in front of it and like, Jesus, man.
If you've done it before, John, it seems like the most obvious thing in the world to do. Get out from behind your equipment and look at it. If you've never done it before and someone suggests it, you're like, I never thought of that. And there's a lot of people out there who have never done it.
Because you live by what you see. Like, as the audience, you see this beautiful triangle come down and you're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I need to buy moving heads. Look what they can do. Yeah. Then you go, you know, and I'll give credit to Brian. I did a gig. I was in Rancho Santa Fe. This had to be like 2009, 2010. And he'd done a video on, hey, if you want to see what your light show is really like, just go stand in front of it. It might just look like a train coming down a tunnel. I'm like, he doesn't mean me because I'm using the Revo 3 and it looks amazing on the ceiling and the walls. It's got great coverage.
From where you're standing, yeah.
Right. So I had uplights around the room and I went out in front to take a photo, which I never did. I never took photos of the booth because I'm like, what's the point? I'll take them from the booth perspective of the crowd. It'll look great.
Crowd's all nice and
so I decide, no, let me move and take it from the front. And it was like a train coming down a tunnel with this white light under my table just extending out. I'm like, God, I can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of realize, oh, so how do I soften the blow? I think it was that video you did where you're like showing the lighting under the table. You took a plastic table and changed the color.
Probably did. I've done the video a few times.
Yeah, where you're like, here, try perspective this way. Look, put it on. That was, I think, around the time you did take a light and put it against the wall that wouldn't normally go against the wall.
Some of the videos that I do like that, I don't think I can do enough of those videos.
Because it's always a new audience.
Yeah.
It's always a new fixture. It's always
when I do, yeah, exactly.
You know. We used to do this with it, but you can do this with it, or you can.
I've never shown you guys the Odin, the one that sits on the couch behind me when I go on Twitch. It just makes the squares all around the room. It's just a mini gem, but I angle it up at the ceiling, so it makes it look like I'm in this box of light. Mm-hmm. I did a seminar in New York City with that light, and when I first took it out of the box, everyone like, "Oh yeah, we know that light." I said, but have you seen it this way?
Have you tried it like this?
Put it on the floor and shot it up at the ceiling. They literally were confused. They're like, wait, we love this effect, but we don't understand that it's that light. I'm like, no, it's that light. That's all it's doing.
Right.
I mean, like all this stupid stuff going on behind me is this. Like, that's all this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's enough when I'm on Twitch that this shines on my laptop cover. I mean, that little light, you see all the color coming in the back of the room, that's without it. And it's a $99 light. Uh-huh. So, I mean, if I hit it, it changes colors, does the spinny spin. But I wouldn't use it to point at you because guess what? It's a train.
Man, I
can do it the right way. Like that looks semi-cool, but that's where I would be DJing.
I could do that video every year. And then like the following year, somebody's like, well, why shouldn't I just have my light shining at the audience? It's like, well, I did a video every year on this. Haven't you seen it? No.
It's an annual video.
Okay, well, here's another one. It's like the mixer settings video. I can do that video every month. Every week I can do that video, and I haven't done it enough. So you mean, yeah, I mean that. So 0 dB, yeah.
Yeah, gain stage. Yeah, I've seen that one a few times too.
Yeah. Unity gain, yep. Still
Well,
same
I'll
as
tell
last
you,
month.
the video you should do, because it comes up more and more now, is the amount of DJs that are running speakers well behind them. I'm talking like 5 feet behind, off to the left and right.
That's weird.
In a big room.
Well, the truth
is
is
they want to be front stage, so they're not competing with their own sound, and they're literally like, I'm going to be here, and I won't say names, but I can show you 4 or 5 Instagrams with millions of followers, and the lights are always about 5 feet behind and about 6 feet off to each side, and it's like, how the heck are they not going deaf?
Oh, they are. Well, they already are deaf. Right. There is a DJ that I will not mention his name. He is famous. He is a friend. And he cannot hear. He thinks he can hear is the scary part. It's kind of like, I don't know what to even compare it to. Somebody who thinks they're a good cook and their food's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, his mix is nice. It's very nice. But when it comes to the types of speakers he enjoys, I think brand X is the best. I've listened to all of them, and brand X is the most mid-heavy piece of crap I've ever heard in my life.
It's because his frequencies are all shot.
He lost a couple of decibels or something. Yeah,
he can't hear.
Right.
And I've told him that, dude, you're deaf. And he looks at me like I am punking him. I'm like, no, you really can't hear. When I was working State Fair years ago, I used to do that stage every year. Yeah. The Roots Rock stage.
Yeah.
And we got a sound guy, but it was always like the sound guy from the 1978 Marshall Tucker Band thing,
yeah.
It's not like he was a young guy with good ears. He was an old deaf guy who was high. And it was always stupid mid-heavy. Always. Yeah. So whenever I do a sound check, I would crank my mid all the way up and make him tune to that. And then when he'd walk away, I'd turn it down. That's the only way I'd have control over this stuff.
And I know you've got another topic, but I'll kind of edge out of the sound thing real quick with another friend of ours who we all know was doing a festival and was the opening DJ. And as I'm sure anyone here knows, if you don't, I'll clue you in very quickly. The sound is stepped up in stages throughout the night until you get to the headliner.
Right.
Well-known fact, I think, amongst professionals. The opener's never that loud. Well, he walks in and the sound guy goes, dude, I haven't seen you in 20 years since we toured. He's like, hey, man, how's it going? So good to see you, man. How you been? He goes, I didn't even know you were doing this. And he goes, I'm trying to come back. And the stage guy gave him a wink and said, I'll give you some bass. 6,000 people later for a no-name opening DJ at a festival. And I've got the photos to prove it. Because all of a sudden it went from, to and like everyone just went, what's going on over there? Whoosh. And it was one of those like, thank you. And he goes, dude, knowing the sound guy and being nice to him never hurts you. So lesson kids, always be nice to the sound guy.
Let's bring him a Starbucks gift card. Yep.
Yeah. If you show up with coffees, include the sound guy.
Yeah.
Even if he's deaf.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, I thought I'd blow your mind and bring up gear, man. I just thought it'd be funny, but there were some things that I wanted to talk about with that.
So I guess now we're going to talk COVID.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
where'd Brian go? Where'd Brian go?
They had us from the first half, not going to lie.
Hey, man, I knew you guys would be attentive for that. I knew you would. Yeah, I was in the shop this week with my son-in-law, and we were listening to Studio 54 radio, and Ladies Night by Kool and the Gang came on. And, he's a really good guitar player. I mean, he's a rock and roll guy. but he really likes that song, particularly the last part of it. And
where it's 120 BPM, not
this is your night tonight. Everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah, just
like
speed,
this needs to be. He said this needs to be an EDM track loop. I've never heard those words come out of his mouth before.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? He's right.
Challenge accepted. Okay.
I don't know if anyone's done it, but that would be pretty dope, wouldn't it? Now that I broadcast this to the world, everyone's going to do it.
And put it over a beat somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Got to get to it before Wookie gets it.
That's what I was calling him. I was saying, there's a guy named Wookie who's doing this kind of stuff
Message
right
now.
Wookie and tell him, say you should do a hook with this. He'd probably do it.
Probably do.
Because by the end of the song, it's at least 120. I know it starts at 109, but that drummer, he just like...
He was partying
Oh, yeah, I love it. Tonight, yeah. It's like, whoa, slow down, dude.
Yeah, it needs maybe a little bit of a redrum, a sequence. And I'm thinking some swish in there, some Pioneer Mixer swish, and maybe some stems. I'm almost hearing something that goes, tonight, all right, tonight, all right. You can call the song tonight, all right. You can kind of like a call on me kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
It was just surprising to hear him.
In the air, tonight, in the air, in the air, tonight.
There you go. All kinds of fun stuff you could do with that.
I didn't think he was EDM based at all.
He's not. That's the fun part.
Well, he's looking at it from
people know a jam when they hear it. Yeah.
He's like, ooh, I love this part of the song. This needs to be part of an EDM track.
Yeah.
This could be a loop. And he's right. And you can
Those guys all have that chord, and I know why he likes it if he's a guitar player. I really like Earth, Wind, and Fire because as a guitar player, there are sections of their songs that get real kind of not difficult or hard to play, but you can hear a guitar and it's doing some cool chord changes really fast.
Yeah.
They do it in September. They do it in Boogie Wonderland. They do it in Let's Groove.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just back there in the mix.
So I bet he's like
audible,
hearing
but
that.
it's not too deep in the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Van Halen where it's like, hello.
No, but it's in the mix enough where you're like, oh, this, I hear that. Well, I mean, Jeffrey Osborne, Stay With Me Tonight is, I think, a great example of a great
That's crazy
song.
bass.
Well, it's crazy bass. And then we find out, thank you, John C83 on Twitch. If you're not following, you should.
Yeah, I heard of that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the guitar solo is Mr. Brian May of Queen.
That makes sense.
Mind blown.
That makes sense.
But it's like,
and it's kind of his sound. After you
it's very
hear
much
that, you like that
his
noodly
style.
sound. That's
his style, not his sound, but his
not
style.
his sound as much. It's not the typical, because he used his guitar. He used that,
the
red
fireplace
red
right
or
there.
Big
called.
Red or Red Special. I think Red Special. But he didn't use his
Red
regular
something.
Vox AC30 setup because that sound is so distinctive.
That's so Queen. What if all of a sudden became a Queen song? And they're like,
well, and that's probably why he didn't, because that's exactly what it would have done.
Play through this, this different head. Play through this other.
I mean, every single song they've ever done, he played the same guitar on, except one. Only one song did he take another guitar into the song, and he opens it with a Telecaster, and that's Crazy Little Thing Called Love, because they really wanted a thin, tinny 50s kind of vibe.
I always thought Freddie played that.
You know what? I've seen Freddie do acoustic a couple times, and he doesn't look like he could have played that.
Okay, that was pretty simple intro.
I think he was chords.
Yeah, they taught him a couple of chords. That's all.
But like the thin stuff, even on Saturday Night Live, if you watch they were on Saturday Night Live and they did that song, he plays a Telecaster, and then I think the last half of it, he brings out the Red Special, and then
that's that. That's very Brian.
Kind of Eddie Cochran-y,
It is the little tribute to Elvis song. It was good. It's catchy.
Bill
What are you going to say about all this crap, Kevin?
I'm keeping quiet.
I just want to make sure that you had a voice.
As far as the rental and stuff like that,
he's taking notes.
Yeah, I'm always listening. As far as going back to the rental stuff, I'm willing to do that, but I need to know the people. I prefer to actually sort of babysit the stuff. I rent other things besides that, like log splitters and some other things that I own. So I do promote that, but I don't really promote DJ equipment getting out there. So as far as that goes,
Yeah.
if we're going back to that, music, yeah, I'm sort of listening here, but if we're going back to the original topic, that's what I thought. One of the members of the Peanut Gallery was concerned that I was not voicing my opinion enough.
Oh, Eric?
Thanks, Eric.
He's an idiot. Don't worry about him.
So he's trying to make me get out of character.
I didn't tell this, and I'll tell it very quick because I think it's a pretty funny story. Because I
like that red back there, by the way.
Yeah, I'm digging this.
It looks nice.
I'm gonna leave it.
New Balance would love
It'll
that.
move eventually, though.
But it's the right brightness of red. It's not too bright. It's not too dark. It's
I think it's like just a couple of dyes.
You're like a lighting designer now. That's scary.
I'm trying to be an LD. We call it, Brian, in the industry. We say LD. That refers.
I thought LD stood for learning disability.
That some could say is the same thing.
Yeah,
they could. They're not going to. When COVID hit, I got a hit on Messenger from my old boss from Starbucks. And when you take things that completely out of context, it's funny. She goes, "Hi, Jay. Hope you're doing well. Do you have any CDJs and a DJM?" Question mark. I'm like, okay, why does my Starbucks manager from 10 years ago want to know if I have CDJs and a DJM? Like, that's way specific. And I'm like, "Hey, Susan, yeah, what's going on?" Question mark, question mark. She goes, "My son is a DJ and he's stuck at our house in quarantine, but he has to do some performances." I'm like, "I didn't know your kid was a DJ." I'm like, "Well, here's my number. Have him hit me up." So he hits me up. He goes, "Hey, I'm looking for this." I go, "I got that. Can I get it for a month?" Yeah. This much money. Okay. So we meet. Well, when we get together, I go, "Yeah, your mom said that you're a DJ. Is this like, you're kind of into it? Like, you're working your way up to a gig? Like, what are you doing?" Turns out he's like one of the biggest bass producer DJs in the world. He'd just gotten back from Beijing, China, where he was touring. Yeah, no, he's like 100% legit. He did a Twitch set the next week. He had 18,000 people on his Twitch set.
Damn.
I mean, John and I call that a Thursday, but for a kid doing this,
I got to raise my hand on this.
Yeah.
Not once have I ever gone to my mother and said, "Hey, Ma, do you think you can source me some gear?"
That's what I told him.
It doesn't make sense.
I go, "So exactly how did your mom jump in?" He goes, "Well, I told her, damn, my gear's in LA and I can't go back there." I mean, this is like March of 2020 when people were like, "I can't leave the house."
Yeah, you can't go anywhere. Yeah.
And she's like, "You know what? I used to have a guy I'm friends with on Facebook still that worked for me. He's a big name DJ." Because his name is actually half of the letters of DJ. So that's how he goes, "Well, I'm looking for CDJs and a DJM." So I'm like, yeah. So,
all right.
But here's the cool part. About 4 months later, he had him for a month. Everything was cool. And about 4 months later, he hits me up. He goes, "Hey, man, I'm going to be in the area. I've got a show in Palm Springs. I'm going to stop in Temecula, go there for the night, do the show, and then come back." He goes, "What would 1 day rental cost?" And I just said, "You know what, bro? I'll be honest. I would rather trade music. I don't have a good bass supply of music. I don't know the genre very well. It doesn't come up very much in my career. But, on that random time, I'd like to be able to open a crate in Serato and go, 'Oh, you guys want some bass? Here's this.' I don't even really know the artist." So he ended up giving me a flash drive with like 4 gigs of songs on it that are all stuff I would never really listen to, but I've genuinely played a few times when I've had that, drunk late night wedding where they're like, "You got any bass music?" And I'm like, "Well, as a matter of fact."
When I open this special folder on my backpack.
Yeah, but other people would say, "You're a fool. You could have gotten this much money for it." It's like, yeah, but music is pretty valuable to me. I mean,
right.
How often do you use that, really? So
let me spin this into something different since we've got a few minutes left for the show.
Yeah.
You bring up something interesting. Not that we're advocating sharing music. Not that we're doing that.
Well, no, this is the best part. I didn't mention that. It was his music. He created the music.
Right.
So it was all his production, his actual tracks. and then collabs he did with other artists. And he said, I can give you this. I own the rights. So it wasn't even like he was giving me a bunch of, random tracks from other artists. He gave me his catalog.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So it worked out perfect.
I was just thinking, let's just say that someone acquired my hard drive. Like,
I know where this is going.
It got lost. Somebody stole it out of my computer bag or something.
Yep.
If that were to happen, and they had my hard drive, which I don't know what I've got on there right now. It doesn't matter. It's
you got a lot of music.
A terabyte of music.
Right.
It's well over a terabyte of music. It's closer to 2, which is too much. But that's my point. Would you really know what to do with it? To me, it would be more valuable as a person who's into music if I were to step into a genre I wasn't familiar with. If somebody would almost do what I ask wedding clients to do, give me the 12 must plays.
Yeah.
If I were to get 12 songs that were the best 12 songs of whatever genre it was, that would be more valuable to me than 60 terabytes of the stuff. Because at least I would know what the big songs were. And kind of a quality over quantity thing.
I agree. I think with bass, though, it's like jazz.
That's different.
It's not about, here's a big banger hit versus this is what, and he even said, he goes, this is the stuff the crowd would really like.
Right.
And I can tell you it's near impossible to mix because there's so many like quiet parts, but having been EDC and stood across from the bass stage for 17 hours in 3 days listening to bass, there's a ton of these like weird drops and builds and fills but the crowd, that's what they're into. They want that like, ooh, wow, it's really bizarre. But I agree about if I said to you, hey Brian, I got to start my collection over. I don't want 2 terabytes of your music. You give me your top like 300 tracks you play at a wedding or something.
Well, I'm even thinking about if a person's stepping into a genre they're not familiar with. Like Damon is our resident France guy. I can say that. The guy is living in Detroit and he's doing his thing.
Right.
If Damon were to give me a terabyte of trance music, I wouldn't know what the hell to do with it. If he were to give me 20 trance tracks, I'd probably do some pretty neat stuff with it.
It would take you 6 months to listen to everything he gave you for you to even remotely try to figure out what was good.
And then I wouldn't even know what an audience was into.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, and it's funny that this topic comes up because even now I'm starting to think I like trance and I've got a lot of trance and I'd be hard pressed to give you more than 10.
Yeah.
And they'd just be like the Ferry Corsten Rock Your Bodies and the Tiesto Adagio and the big bangers, but they're old tracks.
Yeah, but wow, they
now you've got new tracks,
but they still work.
That's more about music.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that still works. So yeah,
no, Alice DJ still packs a floor, but I may not know what the new Alice DJ style track is today. And I think if you looked happy playing it, I think that goes a long way. Every time I see a video of a famous DJ playing and they look happy, I think it influences the crowd. And I think when we look happy, like the weddings I get where I do get to do my famous EDM set of Alice DJ, Sonique, Feel So Good, Shapeshifters, The Launch, Zombie Nation, Rock Your Body,
Cascade.
Cascade. I remember if I get those weddings, I look like I'm high as a kite because I am ear to ear smiles jumping up and down. But I think people pick it up. They're like, whoa, this DJ is really into it. I love this song too. So does he.
Right.
You don't want to look sad. We all judge people on how they appear when you show up. I mean, there's an expression, resting bitch face. It's there for a reason.
I mean, on a side note, I prefer the blind DJ thing. I want people to play off each other, not me. I would much rather be the great Oz behind the curtain than
but I
everyone's
think it helps
staring
if
at.
You look happy.
but if they can't see me, they don't know if I'm happy or sad.
I know, but that's the thing. They can see you. So you have to accept the fact that you're on stage.
Am I angry or am I smiling?
You're probably angry.
Wilson.
I will say this. Some people say I do look a little resting bitch face when I DJ sometimes. But most of the time, that's me concentrating, trying to make sure I'm
right. I'm listening.
What I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know.
But if I gave you a set, Damon, where I said, hey, man, instead of playing disco, Usher, 80s, 90s, do me a favor. Give me a half an hour of your stuff that you're really into. I guarantee nobody would look at you during that half hour and go, yep, there it is again, that resting bitch face.
You know, the way I mix, though,
you're in the moment.
Yes, true. You're right about that.
When I got a dance floor going, I don't know how these guys have time to dance around and be happy.
Either.
I'm
so
busy.
Stressful. You've already got them. You don't
I'm doing stuff. I'm listening to things.
Yes.
I'm queuing things up. I'm trying things.
I'm lining
I don't
up
have time to be like
tracks ahead. Yeah.
I don't know who has time to do that crap. I don't.
It's sort of like you wish your restaurant as a chef would fill up. The second it's full, you're knee deep in the kitchen going, I got to get this food out.
Right.
20 minutes ago, all you wanted was customers. I know I've got them, but it doesn't mean I'm going to.
But I got stuff to do.
Yeah, careful what you wish for. Yeah.
I just think smiling, like if you're back to going, you hear the register ringing every 5 seconds, you're going to smile while you're in the weeds. I learned it as a bartender. When you looked like you didn't have control of the bar, you lost control. If you genuinely looked like all 400 people around were not a threat to you and you had them in the palm of your hand, that's how they responded. They really did. I learned that from old school bartenders. And it's that never let them see you sweat kind of thing. The second they think you're not together, they'll start rapid ordering. Like, excuse me, I want to get a drink because you look like you're in the weeds.
Yeah, take ownership.
All right, let me ask you guys this question since we're talking about music and bitch facing and all that stuff. This is strictly for DJing at a bar, okay?
Yeah.
Not a wedding because I would never drink at a wedding.
All right.
Okay. Now, DJing at a bar. If you have a drink or two, do you find yourself being more creative compared to being more technical? Because I've noticed myself, if I have a drink or two at a bar, I'm willing to take chances on certain mixes. Compared, if I'm not drinking, I may not be as creative, but my technical skills are top notch. I've
known people like you who really feel like that they need a drink to loosen up. I think I'm the weirdo. I'm always loose. And that's why I probably don't need to drink like some people do. Because I already don't care. Okay. And I'm already insane. But I think some people need that to take the edge off and take chances. I'm not suggesting it's right or wrong. But I can tell you this. Alcohol and drugs did not hurt my record collection. and that's real talk. Yeah. I'm not advocating for drinking at events, but these records are better because of drugs and alcohol.
But you understand where I'm coming from, though. I mean,
absolutely. I've known
technical
people
skills when I'm not drinking. I don't miss a beat,
Right.
But my creative skills, if I have a drink or two, I'm taking more chances. I'm mixing stuff that I would normally not try.
You think about it a little longer. You're like, what else would work here? Not the really good one that I get picked, but let me try this.
Exactly.
It's feast or famine. Sometimes it hits, and sometimes you're like, it's too much of a left turn. Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I record every set I do at a bar.
Really?
Yes. Okay, so that way I can go back and listen to it later. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. But it's like, at least I can say, okay, that shit did not work.
there is no reward without a degree of risk.
Right, exactly.
If you're always playing it safe, it's never going to change. You have to take a risk. And you know what? You could fail. Absolutely. Yeah. It could go really bad, but at least you tried. Or it could go really good. You took the risk. It's a calculated risk, And sometimes it's okay to take that risk. Sometimes it's not appropriate. I feel personally. But you got to take those risks once in a while. And I guess if a shot of tequila encouraged you to take that risk once in a while, I'm not advocating for it, but I get it. I understand it.
I mean, here's one of the mixes I did one time was was let the bodies hit the floor. Okay. Mix that, mash it up with numbers from Kraftwerk. Yeah. It actually
Sweet
worked.
sunshine. All right, I guess it's kind of the same
It
deal.
worked, but it was like, okay, one of those ones. They wanted to hear this song. I really didn't want to play it, but I was like,
Hey,
Wow.
guys, come on, quick. Damon's been drinking. You can tell he's doing metal and house again. Come on.
Metal House. He's
That's
invented
it.
another new genre. Jesus,
Right.
I get enough folders. Come on, man. You
all
can't.
right.
No,
I
I just
just
heard him
wanted
do
to see
click.
if anybody
He just
knows.
did click,
Yeah,
click,
for that.
boom into Adagio for strings. It's awesome.
I think I did Dindada on top of Double Dutch Bus one time, really drunk at a bar, come to think of it.
Okay,
So
see.
I understood. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I would just be cautious.
Yeah, I'm very cautious.
It might shock everyone coming from me. Outside, if it's paid outside, I still
He
have
only
kind of a
drinks
zero
here with us.
policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only because my fear is if one or two and it's like, this is going great, then three might even go better. And before you know it, you're on 6 and you're like, uh-oh, it's all going sideways. And I'm
I'm very cautious when I drink because, like, I value my license too much.
right.
That's kind of that's important.
So it's like,
and that's why I think it's one of those things. And we've had this talk for what it's worth. You carry liability insurance?
yes,
Okay. God forbid there's a beef or something goes down at the club and the cops show up. Drunk guy reeks of alcohol. DJ that hasn't had a sip. Pretty easy. DJ's had 2. Hey man, you been drinking? I literally had 2, officer. Now it's like, well, you're kind of getting dragged into this problem. And I'm sure somewhere in our insurance policy, in the deep, deep print, there's something about not that you can't drink, but maybe drinking here is, I'm just saying.
yeah, I
It becomes
agree.
one of those like, is this going to benefit me at all? And I totally know where you're coming from. And I agree with you. But unless you know how to handle it like you do,
Yeah,
for newer DJs, just kind of take it, just go kind of cautiously down that road.
all right,
Because if it goes south on you, it can go really south.
all right.
That would be something you might try on Twitch, where you want to take a little sip and then try some experimental things and then work them out. Okay, sorry, a gulp.
Or do what John and Jay do. Just do it here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, bring a gallon bottle. When we start playing online, hey, it's
Yeah.
a different game. So
you
I
sort
mean,
of
I'll try to Damon.
It's not the
once
real
in a while.
world.
I
I mean,
did, you weren't there, Damon. John was. I did a Damon move the other night. I did Slayer, Rain and Blood into Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band. It worked.
Right.
I mean, I can't tell, but I'm pretty sure it worked.
And on that
I'm just
happy
saying.
note,
Yeah, I
on
can
that
hear it.
happy
absolutely.
note, we were at the hour mark, folks.
All
yes,
right.
indeed.
We did a show. It was weird. It was fun.
I
Awesome.
enjoyed it.
And hope you all enjoyed it. Eric would like us to thank our sponsors once again. So thank you, DJ Event Planner, for sponsoring this video today. And thank you to all the other sponsors who you will find in the description.